Three distinct voices shape the narrative of a film: the writer's vision, the director's interpretation, and the editor's refinement. When talking about the editing of a particular film, you may not immediately think of the team of people who work together to piece together the narrative. The editor themselves make the cuts and the decisions alongside the director, producer, and showrunner. But underneath the editor is a team of various roles who aid the project in its creative vision and tight deadlines. Some of these roles include post-supervisors, post-producers, lead assistant editors, first assistant editors, junior assistant editors, post-PAs, dialogue editors, and picture editors. Altogether, there are a lot of minds who work collaboratively on the offline edit. Out of all these roles, one role is vitally essential for the project's success. In this video, you'll learn about what an assistant editor is and why this job is so important for any given project. Despite how the name sounds, the assistant editor typically doesn't make any cuts. Their three main responsibilities include ingesting, assisting the editor, and conforming. These responsibilities are very important and give the assistant editor an overseeing role of organizing and finding information. Let's break it down further with some more context. A low-budget show titled Zoe is in production. It's Monday and its call time is at 9 a.m. As the day goes on, the DIT collects and manages footage, metadata, and audio files. Meanwhile, the script supervisor keeps track of important notes as the production films. Once our production wraps day one at 9 p.m., the script supervisor or post-producer will send all script notes, including daily reports, camera reports, over to the crew members with the proper clearance. This includes our assistant editor. On a low-budget production, the DIT will send all data to an assistant editor, where overnight they'll ingest the data, meaning they'll transcode all footage, convert all of the raw footage to proxies, group and sync the video and audio, and most importantly, log, label, and organize all data. On a medium to large budget production, it's the industry standard to use a Daly's house for ingesting. This means our assistant editor's time can be used to prep bins for the editor first thing in the morning. In any size production, the assistant editor is looked towards for all knowledge of changes or issues which happened on set, as they have all of the supervising paperwork and have watched, grouped, and organized the entirety of shot media. This positions the assistant editor as a gatekeeper for any and all information that may be needed at some point in the editing process. Once all of the Zoe footage from the day before has gone through these steps, the assistant editor will begin to group together bins for each scene. As they finish grouping footage, audio, and multicam sequences into a bin, they'll pass this organized content to the editor for the cutting process. The editor will continue this process throughout the day until all the footage has been sorted. This same process will continue daily until the production is wrapped. As a recap, all footage has been proxied, organized, imported, and grouped, and the editor has a head start on his version of the offline cut. But now the clock begins to tick, as the editor has only 4 days to complete his version of the offline cut. Under this time constraint, the editor will rely on our assistant editor for crucial support. In this phase, the responsibilities of our assistant are now to assist. The most common requests from the editor include making selects, doing temporary sound design, finding footage which was once overlooked, fixing problems with data, and exporting versions to be sent to any cleared personnel for comments. In some rare instances, the editor will ask you to build the assembly, which usually comes with time and trust. This phase of assisting demands a wealth of expertise in software, techniques, communication, organization, and paperwork. A top-notch assistant editor is always ready, swiftly anticipating and learning to meet the project needs in a fast-paced environment. There is no room for inexperience or delays. Anticipating requirements and quick learning are crucial. Finally, the editor completes the offline cut for the first episode of the show, incorporating music, sound effects, color, and transitions that all appear and sound nearly perfect. However, these elements are temporary, specifically added for the director's initial viewing of the episode. The editing phase will now transform into the director's cut, where the director will collaborate with the editor over several days to hone and refine their vision for the episode. Throughout the director's cut, our assistant editor remains essential in helping address the editor's needs. Once the director's cut reaches its deadline, this 3-day process will continue, only now involving the showrunner. The post-production process of Zoe Episode 1 has had 2 weeks to edit the show and is now ready for the online edit, which means that our episode is picture-locked, which means no more cutting. The assistant editor's role now shifts towards conforming the edit for online. Initially, they clean up the timeline, remove unused media, remove old comments, and condense multiple tracks down to 1 or 2. Once this is done, they'll relink all of the proxy footage to the original high-definition 4K shots. Now that the edit is online, it's prepared for the final stages of sound design, color correction, and visual effects. Very soon, these gears of post-production and the assistant editor's role will repeat, as the show Zoe gears up to start production on Episode 2. Through every phase of the editing process, the assistant editor is a vital link between the organization of data and the cutting process. Most of the tasks mentioned in this video are vitally important even in your own work, no matter how big or small of a project.